Hello students. So for today's video, I'm going to show you how to research a college using their webpage. Now, if you're wanting to research a different college, that is fine, but for today we're going to be researching Sam Houston State University. Now, the first thing you want to do is you're going to go ahead and Google the Sam Houston State University. The first thing that you're going to see is the Sam Houston State link. You're going to go ahead and click on that. Make sure that it says EDU. Now, when you come up to any university's webpage, the first thing you want to check, or the first thing you want to research, is to see if they offer the major that you're wanting to study. The other thing that you also want to check is their admission requirements. In other words, what do you need in order to get accepted into the university? You want to check their campus life. Do they offer housing? Because not all campuses offer housing, such as two-year colleges like Blinn. And then the other resources such as financial aid, and then so on and so forth. So for the first thing we're going to do, like I said, is let's check to see if they offer the major you want to study. You're going to go ahead and click on the major and programs, select bachelor's degree. Once you click on that, a list of degrees are going to populate on your screen. Now, if you look here, it says Criminal Justice BS, Criminal Justice BA. So what is the difference between the two, or what do these abbreviations mean? The good thing about Sam Houston is that they are really good about providing you with those extra information. If you go down to the very bottom of the page, it tells you what the degree abbreviation means. So again, BA means Bachelor's of Arts, BS, Bachelor's of Science. So now we go back up to the top to criminal justice. As you know, criminal justice is a very popular field at Sam Houston State University. It is very well known there. Now, you're wondering, so we know that BS stands for Bachelor's of Science, and this one stands for Bachelor's of Arts. So basically, to put it in easier terms, is that BS is going to have more science course based. This one's going to have more arts based courses. So if you don't like science, we highly recommend the BA, because this won't have as much science courses as the BS. Now, is one higher than the other? No, you're still going to graduate the 4-year degree. It'll just be specific to either a BS, Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice, or Bachelor's of Arts in Criminal Justice. But again, they're the same, similar, but just one of them will have more science-based courses. Now, let's say, for example, you want to look into the art field. We're going to go ahead and click on that art link, and it's going to take us to their page. This pretty much tells you what kind of classes you'll be taking, and along with other information for you. I'm going to go back one. Let me pick something a little bit. Let's do cybersecurity. For cybersecurity, if you look at it, it tells you cybersecurity, it tells you Bachelor's of Science, meaning that it will have more science-based courses. It gives you a little brief description of what it is. It also tells you what kind of careers in cybersecurity you can get, and then some enrollment and how many credits you need to have in order to graduate, along with the application deadline. When is it that you need to apply? So let's go back one. Let's look at one other one. Let's look at fashion merchandising. Again, this tells you BS and BA. This one we're going to do BA. And again, it gives you a quick brief description about what it is. Internship opportunities. This one tells you we also offer student opportunities to travel to Europe to study works and lives of chemists, So again, this is a great opportunity for you to do what? Study abroad. So just keep that in mind. And again, it tells you what kind of careers you can get in fashion merchandising. And then again, program breakdown. But again, like I mentioned earlier, Sam Houston does a very good job in breaking that down for you and making it easier for you to understand what kind of careers you can get with that degree. Because I do get a lot of students who ask me, Ms. Cruz, I want to do this, but what kind of jobs can I get with that degree? And Sam Houston is one of the campuses that does a really great job in providing that information to you. But again, like I said, feel free to go through the list and find out which one best suits you based on what you're wanting to study. Okay, so that's a quick guide on how to look at majors and whether they offer that major and what does a BA, BF abbreviation stand for. Now we know that they do offer the major that we want to study. Now let's look at admissions. What do you need to have in order to get admitted into Sam Houston as a freshman? So again, scroll down to the bottom. It tells you steps to apply for admissions as a freshman, your testing admission standards, whether you're automatic admission for freshmen, and scholarship opportunities, and what are the application deadlines. So first thing we want to do is let's check the steps to apply for admission. Step 1, it says complete the online application for Sam Houston. So where do we do that? We're going to go ahead and go to either click on the online application, or you go to www.applytexas.org, and if you click on that, it's going to tell you Bearcat freshman application or applytexas.org. So either you can click on either one of these two. It'll take you to similar pages. Again, and it tells you that if you get free or reduced lunch, then you don't have to pay your $45 payment fee for your application, but they are going to need your SAT or College Board waiver in order to not have to pay that $45. So in other words, once you complete your online app, Sam Houston is going to ask that you pay that $45 application fee, but those who have free or reduced lunch don't have to pay that application fee. They will submit their SAT waiver form or their College Board waiver form, and then it tells you where to submit that document to. And then it gives you another option. So if you don't have either of these two, then you can submit a letter from the high school counselor or principal, and then they'll mail it out to that address. So that's step 1. Submit your application online via applytexas.org. Submit your application fee payment or your waivers. Step 2, submit your transcript. So what is a transcript? A transcript is a paper that has all your grades since you started freshman here at Rudder. So who does that? Who has access to your transcript here at Rudder? The registrars have access to that, and they can provide you with a copy, or they can send that transcript for you to the universities of your choice. Now, if you're wanting more information on how to get in contact with Mrs. Timmerman, the registrar, let me know and I can have that information sent to you. But again, in order to submit your transcripts, it has to be done by your registrar, Mrs. Timmerman, or you can request it through us and we can get that taken care of for you. If you come to us to the CC Center, we'll place in the request for you, and then we will mail out or email that transcript over to Sam Houston. Step 3, submit your test scores. Now, as you know, Sam Houston is not requiring the SAT or ACT exams for admission purposes, but they will or might need those test scores for scholarship purposes. So again, even though Sam Houston does not need those tests for admission, they might need them for scholarship purposes. So keep that in mind. Now, again, this is the steps you need to do in order to have a completed application and submitted application to Sam Houston. Let's look at automatic admission for freshmen. So this is basically telling you that if you're top 10% of your class, um, that you're gonna get automatically admitted into Sam Houston no matter what your SAT or ECT test scores are. But as mentioned earlier, Sam Houston is not requiring the SAT or ECT for admission purposes. So if you're top 10% of your class, then we know that you're automatically gonna get accepted into Sam Houston. But what happens if you're not top 10%? Well, that's when they'll look at your application as a whole, meaning they'll review your application and consider you for admissions without those SAT and ECT test scores. So again, if you look at this, again, this is depending if you're wanting to submit your SAT and ECT test scores. Remember that they're not requiring the SAT or ECT for admission purposes, but they might need them for scholarships. So again, with this information here, they might not even consider even looking at it. But normally the way you would read this right here is that this is letting you know that if you're not top 10% of your class, then they look at your GPA, and based off your GPA is how you have to score on your ACT or SAT exam. But like I said, this year they're not doing the SAT or ECT test scores. So we're gonna go ahead and disregard this section. So what happens if you're not top 10% of your class and you don't have to submit your SAT or ECT test scores? So what happens then? So basically what's gonna happen is that you're gonna submit your application to Sam Houston. The admission officers will review your application as a whole, meaning that they're gonna look at your volunteering, extracurricular activities, anything else that you have done in high school, and based off of that is how they'll consider you for admissions. But again, I highly recommend that you do your best on your application when you're submitting that, because remember, that's what they're going to look at first. Scholarship opportunities. This is basically letting you know that that you're going to have to visit their website for scholarship opportunities for you to complete your FAFSA, which will eventually cover. I'll let you know more about that and how to submit your FAFSA. It doesn't open until October 1st, so we still have time for us to get the video ready and that information that you're going to need ready for you. And then complete the scholarship forecast application. Now, once you get admitted into Sam Houston, you definitely want to visit the scholarship forecast application, because this is the link for you to apply for scholarships within the university. But again, please, as soon as you can, as soon as you find out that you have been accepted to Sam Houston, take a look at scholarship forecast, because they'll let you know what scholarships are available and you can apply for scholarships within the campus itself. Okay, so we did a quick review on how to research admission requirements for Sam Houston. Like I said, every university is going to be different. Not every university is going to provide you the same information as what Sam Houston did. But again, this is Sam Houston's webpage. Campus life. Now, the other thing you want to double check is the campus life. Do they offer housing? As I mentioned earlier, not all campuses offer housing, especially two-year colleges. So again, if you know, Blinn College here in Bryan does not offer housing, but Blinn in Brenham does. So again, it is highly recommended that if you're wanting to live on campus, especially if you're going to campus to university or college outside of Bryan, that you check that if they offer housing or dorms at their campus. So that's the number one thing to double check. But again, you're not going to worry about your housing application not until you have been accepted to that campus and you have decided that that is a campus you're going to enroll in. And then, like I said, they have club and organizations. You also want to check out dining, how to get your meal plan if you're wanting to live on campus, especially if you're going to be going to a campus outside of Bryan. But again, those are some of the things that you want to look into as one of the few things. The other thing that you want to check is financial aid. So in other words, scholarship, your FAFSA application. This is where you'll check and this pretty much tells you how to submit your. Let me go back one so I can show you again. So all I did was I clicked on services and resources. I clicked on financial aid, and like I said, every campus website is going to have a similar one for you to look at. But again, this is Sam Houston. So I'm going to click financial aid, and it's asking, I'm currently classified as a first-time freshman. And then here, where do I start? How do I receive financial aid? Selected for vacation, special circumstances. But again, this gives you so much information about it. It tells you to complete the FAFSA each year beginning October 1st. Know your cost. I'm going to click on cost. If you look at it, you're looking at this because what they're meaning by cost is how much is it going to cost you to be at that university. Now, I'm going to do undergraduate. So here it already kind of gives you, this rates are based off of 2019 tuition fee. So this was last year's academic financial or numbers. So again, don't think that this is what it is as of right now. Semester hours, meaning how many hours are going to be in college. I'm going to put 12 because 12 is normally considered a full-time student. Ours is always going to be undergraduate Texas resident. And here it tells you undergraduate Texas resident estimated cost per semester. Okay. Again, this is fall of 2019 estimates. This is not fall of 2021. So again, keep in mind that these are just estimate hours based on the number of hours you're going to be taking. So the other thing I want you to note that if you take less than 12 hours, then at that point you'll be considered part-time student. And being a part-time student as an incoming freshman can limit the amount of free money you can get from the government. So in other words, in order to get free money from the government, if you qualify, it's best to be taking more than 12 credit hours in order to qualify for the grants from the government if you qualify. Okay, so here it tells you tuition and fees. This tells you that per semester tuition, which just an FYI if you didn't know, tuition is something that you have to pay at every university or college. Now, as you know, going to a college, the tuition rate is going to be a lot less compared to a university. Okay, and the average cost for a tuition cost at a university is about $10,000 per year. Okay, and here we're looking at per semester. So for Sam Houston, tuition and fees for one semester is around $4,000. Like I said, this is an old information, so it may have changed since then. Books and supplies. Well, this tells you $500 for books approximately. But again, if you borrow books or look for other resources on how to find cheaper books, you can always get that less than $500. Residence hall. If you do not know, students that attend Sam Houston, freshmen have to live on campus the first year. So just know that this right here is the average cost for one semester and staying at a dorm. Okay. So again, on top of your tuition, you have to pay your residence, because again, like I said, Sam Houston, you have to live on campus. But that's with Sam Houston. Your meal plan, you need to have a meal plan as well. So that'll be another $2,000 per semester to have a meal plan. And again, these are estimates. Just depends on what kind of option, because there's 3 different options for meal plans. So depending on which one you get is how your rate's gonna be. And again, same thing for residence hall. Depending on what resident hall you select, it can be higher, it can be a little bit less than this, but depending on what you select is how you're gonna pay. So again, so what are you actually gonna need to pay at Sam Houston? What you're absolutely gonna have to pay at Sam Houston is your tuition. Your resident hall, your meals. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right here alone, is around 8,000, over 8,000 here, just with your tuition, residence, and meal plan. It's around 8,000 for one semester. Now, So again, don't fear this number right here. This is just, like I said, their approximate cost. It's not saying what you're gonna get. And then other expenses, parking permit that you have to get if you're gonna be driving. But again, these are other costs that I don't include. I don't include these unless you, like I said, unless it's being required from you. Um, Required application fee, that's when you submit your application. So I'm not too worried about this, because without this you can't even get started with you can't even start your application with Sam Houston, to or fully complete your application for Sam Houston. So again, not worried about this one. I'm more worried about tuition, residence, meals, and your parking permit if you're gonna be driving. But again, that's what Sam Houston is asking from you. So again, guys, this is just a quick video on how to research a university webpage. Again, every university is going to be different. Their majors are going to be listed different. Their admission requirements are going to be different. Their campus life information is also going to be different. Their financial situation information is going to be different as well. So again, it's always important for you to review that and be aware of what they're costing you, what it's going to cost you to be at that campus. And like I said, before you even look at the cost or admission requirements, make sure you check that they offer your degree at to begin with, because neither do you want to go apply to a university that doesn't have the main focus or the career that you're trying to pursue. So again, that's pretty much it, guys. Unless you have questions for me, like I said, please reach out. If you want me to research another campus and help you navigate a college website, let me know and we can do that for you. Other than that, have a great day and I'll see y'all soon.